All right, we're recording. Hello, everyone. Dale Shabizian here with Cape and Plymouth Business Media and Lee Zubkowska from St. Anne's Credit Union. Lee, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Dale. Thanks. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So, quick backup story here. Lee had attended a previous webinar that we provided and had suggested the topic of LinkedIn for Business. I use LinkedIn. I have X thousand connections. I don't do anything with it. And I'm thinking to myself, there's probably a lot of people in the same boat. I can tell you LinkedIn everywhere I go. I'm a professional marketer. Everywhere I go, I hear about LinkedIn, LinkedIn, LinkedIn. Right now, it's the hottest social platform, especially for business professionals, entrepreneurs, business owners. It's a great place to be. I'm not going to profess to know a ton about it. Thankfully, we have Lee here. Lee, if you could just, before we get rolling, just introduce yourself, St. Anne's, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we can roll right into it. And folks, this is meant to be, this is a serious topic, but we want to have some fun. We want it to be engaging. Ask questions. This is your webinar, okay? Really want you to take something away, so don't be shy. With that said, zip, it's over to you, Lee.
Thanks, Dale. I appreciate it. I really appreciate everybody's time for attending. I've actually worked for St. Anne's. This is going on my 5th year. Prior to that, I was at a big bank and did dabble in a small business for a little while. But I've about 20 years experience in marketing. Worked at State Street Corporation, Santander Bank, like I mentioned, a small business in telecommunications, and now here for St. Anne's. So I'm actually president of the Southern Chapter of Credit Unions as well, and that stems from really the Cape all the way to, I would say, Attleboro area. So I'm involved in a lot of different genres when it comes to credit unions and what their needs are. So I think that probably will do it, Dale, for a background on me. But I'll put up my, contact information. I did in the chat notes. You'll see it's there. But also I have a slide at the end if you want to connect. I'm happy to connect with you. So
Great, thank you.
Yeah. So thank you again for attending. I really appreciate the time here, Dale, and obviously, I think it's a great topic in terms of, what people can do. I just want to let people know up front that this probably isn't a LinkedIn, to create your profile, but I think the takeaway here is going to be more primarily to generating leads and leveraging content and really just engaging your prospects or even your customers. So with that being said, the agenda for today is really just to include ways to market your business. The 4 ways would be to optimizing your LinkedIn, whether that's your personal profile and your business profile. And I'll give you some tips and tricks as to how you can attain that. Finding your target market or prospects, how you can utilize LinkedIn to do that. Leveraging content, really what you can do to start the conversation on LinkedIn. And then finally, we'll talk about joining LinkedIn groups. And that's really going to be an optional area. I won't spend a lot of time on that, but just know that it's there for you to use. So why are we talking about LinkedIn? I know, Dale, you provided some stats early on in the description of this seminar. Many probably are used to or familiar with LinkedIn and how it works. But we use it for social networking, and that's why it's the #1 social media business to business, and it continues to grow. I got a few more stats online that basically stated that 575 million people do use LinkedIn. 60 million of those are decision makers. So LinkedIn includes the highest concentration of that group for lead generation and selling to prospects. We're going right along how to optimize LinkedIn, personal versus a business profile. But really, it's really optimizing those 2 areas. And we're going to talk about those 2 pages separately. There are certain things you can do to make the most of your profiles, and we'll get into that right now. If you haven't created either, I just want you to know that you will need to create a personal page first before you create the business page. What's happening is it's really not a LinkedIn scenario. It just, I think it almost like reinforces, okay, this is a viable business, and this is something that LinkedIn maybe might do on their back end to just make sure that it's a viable business. So for your personal page, there are a few ways that you can boost your profile, and you want to make sure that your profile is complete. And what I mean by that, and hopefully I can share my screen here. So really right now, you have your title, how many connections. You're going to look at, the about or the history of, what you have done in the past. But at the very least, your headshot should be up to date.
Leah,
Go ahead, Dale.
your presentation's still showing. Have you flipped over to LinkedIn?
I did.
It's still showing the slides for some reason. Oops. Lost your screen there. Oops. Now I'm sharing my screen. Hold on, folks. All right, yeah, try it again.
Did that work?
There we go. Yeah, me had just been stuck on that one window.
Okay.
Great now. Yep.
Yeah, always interrupt me because I'm going to go toggle back and forth. So, so right now you see my profile, obviously from St. Anne's.
Yes.
What you want to make sure is at the very least your headshot and your headline, the about area is filled in, and that's obviously down here at the bottom. Listing your experience. Sorry, listing your experience. I'm going way too fast here. And then education, and obviously any recommendations you want to include.
Okay. This is very common in a lot of social media profiles. I say, if the network gives you a box to put some information in, use it. Like, they will reward you for taking advantage of the things that they offer. Obviously, if it doesn't apply to you, you don't want to use it, but where it applies, you want to make sure you put something useful in there.
Absolutely. Why do this, Dale? It really helps you stand out and showcases what you're good at. And it's your chance to stand out really as an individual to your peers and to those looking at your profile. Another thing that's important are keywords. So any keywords here, marketing, obviously for me, this is obviously going to be different for everybody, but to sprinkle in some of those keywords throughout, whether it's here in the title or when you're discussing, your past experience in the about section, those keywords have a better chance that your profile will go to the top of the search if someone's searching for, specifics, whether they have a new role that they want to hire for, etc. Another way to optimize your profile is to post content, and we'll get to more of that in the next couple of pages in the presentation. But even commenting on your colleagues' posts, engaging your followers or network by leaving, really this is your calling card, and your name, your professional headline. We will discuss ways in which you can do this with ease, as I mentioned, and we'll talk about specifically how to do that with content. With businesses, it's set up slightly different with your business profile. LinkedIn shows you step-by-step on how to do this. There are a few tutorials online. We're not going to get into that nitty-gritty, but I want to give you the basics of a business page. There will also be some handouts at the end that I failed to mention at the beginning of this that will show you or help you create your own business page and some other resources that you'll probably find helpful. So business page. Having a business page really showcases your thought leadership. You're the expert in your industry. Posting positive comments, clicking, sharing, updates about your own business. For example, if you're hiring for some specific opportunity, If you need some ideas as to how to set up your business profile, I would recommend really looking at what your peers are doing, because that will give you a good, at least starting point, right, of how to set up your business page. So hopefully this will work, Dale.
Yeah, we can still see your LinkedIn screen right now.
Okay. So we'll still talk about my personal page. And the next, I guess, area I'd like to talk about is really stopping the scroll. So what that means to me is really keeping the information at the top really current and up to date. Because once you start scrolling to the end, for example, people might just not even scroll. So you want to make sure that what you have here before the fold, which is really right here, if you could see my cursor, you want to make sure that that's up to date and current. If information is missing or not complete, your chance that the reader might bypass you is pretty high and move on to someone else, or even another business if you have information that is missing. This is where you're telling your own personal story or your business page's story. Social media is all about visibility, credibility, and profitability. LinkedIn is no different, so utilize it to the best that you can. Remember, too, that what you include in your personal page here, for example, adds to your company's brand and identity. I think a lot of people don't realize that, and they don't realize that, what you say here is going to affect your company's brand. What is brand? It's not just your visual identity, logo, or color scheme. It really includes your messaging, your tone, how you're writing a piece, the voice, and who your target customers are. How you tell your customers, prospects, and the world about your business, or even about you, is important. And that goes to, your brand. We talk about brand, and some recognizable brands. Obvious is really Coca-Cola, Apple, but regional and local brands include like Jordan's Furniture and Mary Lou's Coffee. So anything that you write will affect that brand. Brand is important because it differentiates you from your competitors, which is important in persuading customers really to purchase your goods, right? In some instances, strong brand can also eliminate competitors taking market share from you. A strong brand can be the difference between winning and losing customers. It's also important for your business or for your business or service to be in a buyer's top of mind. The best brands can steal that space, so you want to hold on to it as long as you can. In fact, the value of your brand can even become an asset that gets measured during a company's valuation or acquisition. This is another way a strong brand can add to your bottom line. I'm sure, Dale, you know all about brand and teach, I'm sure, some of your colleagues good information about how to maintain a good, strong, and positive brand.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just going to say, it takes time. Don't be frustrated.
Right.
I will spend an hour on one sentence just to get it the way I want, because I think the words that you use, the signals that you give someone when you talk about yourself are so important. Are the signals that you think you're better than everyone? Are you humble? Are you experienced? Are you hungry for new business? The words you choose mean a lot. And I always find getting a second, third, fourth opinion is huge.
Absolutely. And for this reason, the goal here is to really increase engagement and ultimately your brand by making the most of LinkedIn. So let's talk about finding your target market. Let's see if I can get down here. I am going to go to the St. Anne's Credit Union business page and just review with you how you can actually see specific people maybe in your industry. So I'm just going to clear the history here, but
Who we've been spying on.
Yeah, well, you know what the topic is, the topic of the day has been, right? They already prompt you for COVID items, so hopefully we won't use that. So right here in the search area, I want to put in small business because I want to see what that would bring up. I'm going to look at all results right now, and that's actually going to bring up all results, whether that's people, groups, other business, small businesses, etc. But what I want to do here is, I don't know why it's bringing up insurance, but we will, I want to look for people that have small businesses. And that will bring up over 7 million results. So probably not what you're looking for in your target market. Maybe you want to use greater Boston area. Maybe you want to use Massachusetts, but we're going to filter down a little bit this list because that's a lot of results. What this shows you, this area here, is that, you know, I have a shared connection with Paula, who is actually the first network LinkedIn person on. I am Paula's first person, where Ashley is second because Paula is the connection.
Friend of a friend.
So I just want to make sure that you see that, because that's going to become you know, important when we talk about content. So let's do a filter here. Again, I'm going to bring up all filters so you can see how there are certain filters that you want to use, and maybe there are certain filters you don't. So here is the page where you can view what you would like, whether that's, you know, you're going to filter by the first connection, second, or third in your network, locations, excuse me, current companies. You can look at here and basically, you know, click on, you know, companies, and that will bring up people in small business that work for, that support small business that might work for Citizens Bank, for example. But for this example that I'd like to show you, let's just filter by the state. So I clicked on Massachusetts, and then I'm going to click on the apply button on the top right. And you will see the results just changed to, you know, over 100,000. So again, this is going to bring up probably most, it looks like, of greater Boston area. Yeah, it looks like it's all greater Boston. What this shows you, that any small business, if they're labeling their job title, it's going to bring anything up in their job title that will be what you see here for small business. So Emily, for example, is labeling herself small business owner. So that's why she is showing up in this filter. She is an owner of a jewelry company in the greater Boston area. And again, Paula Fleming is my shared connection. Paula is Emily's first connection, and I would be the second because I know Paula. Again, that's going to be important for when we talk about the content. Yeah, so this narrows it down. So once you review this list, and again, I'm not showing you all because there's hundreds of pages here, but once you narrow down who you want to speak with and or connect with, you'll see that there's a connect button right here opposite the name. I'm going to scroll down to Emily since I'm picking on Emily. I'd like to connect with her. So how do I do that? You hit the connect button, and what I would recommend here is adding a note. If you just send her a request to connect with her, she may not know who you are. And with that being said, she may just bypass your request. We don't want that to happen. So if you add a personal note to Emily, that personal note should include really, you know, what you have to offer her business. It's not a sales pitch, definitely not a sales pitch at this point, because this is your first connection with her, and you want to bring up or identify those areas that you can help her business succeed. I would keep your note very short if you can, because you absolutely don't want it to go into spam, and that's really not, you know, you want to connect with these people. You don't want to go into a spam folder. So I hope that that helps in that respect. Let's do another example. So we're doing it by, we were filtering it by small business, but let's filter by job title. So I'm gonna basically do CTO, and that's Chief Technology Operator. And I'm going to look at people again. And anybody that has CTO in their job titles will show up. And in this case, again, it's 873,000. Some, for example, will have that connect button. Others will not, because they'll basically have, let's see here. They will have a version of LinkedIn that they're paying for that they don't want to be, I hate to say it, they don't want to connect unless they really know the person. So unfortunately, the founder of HubSpot really just wants people to follow him. And then from there, he'll probably reach out if he finds information that's valuable. So with that being said, again, here is my connection, Shane, who is who knows David Klein as a First Network. And David happens to be second on my list because I know I'm connected through David through Shane. So I also want to point out, we're looking at people here. There's an opportunity now to see, you know, what type of groups do CTOs are involved with. So right now I'm under people. I'm going to hit groups, and it will show you some, you know, chief executives that are involved in a lot of the groups that you see here. I'm going to scroll down. There are a lot of groups within LinkedIn that you could partake in. I just wanted to show you this because this will have to do with some content as well, and we'll get to that, where you can, you know, there's articles within, you know, what these groups might post, and you can kind of piggyback off of those articles and recommend those articles. And then what will happen is that people will now see you as more of an expert in the industry. So that's another option as to how to, you know, have content online that you can start engaging your network with. So let's talk about content. As with any social media, your connections and others are looking for solutions to their problems. And why not be a resource for your network, a thought leader, if you will. As I mentioned, content can be as simple as commenting, sharing, or even tagging someone that might be interested in the same article you just read. More than likely, others will find it useful and will share your post as well. So once that happens, LinkedIn will see that people are interested in what you posted and will increase your visibility through their algorithm. This also bodes well because you want organic reach too. You don't want, you know, paid content that might be on here. I try to stay away from that because I feel like, you know, we're going to take baby steps first before we can fly, right? But it could be as simple as you just posting a quote or introducing an article. If you do a blogs, then maybe repurposing some of your blog content. Again, something that your audience would want to know or that would be beneficial to them. So let's go to the business account again. And it's real easy. You'll see it's part of my personal profile, and I just click on the company page. So this is listing all pages, but right next to that is called content. And if I click on that, that's going to show trending articles within my industry and how to sign up for LinkedIn. Some of these are relevant. I found that I had to scroll a little bit to the bottom to really, they're talking about careers, they're talking about mental health, they're talking about, my peers like Santander, Citibank, but, some helpful hints as to, how to become, productive. But one article that I liked was, some media awards coming from a marketing person. I tend to look at those, whether Dale and I know you just talked about 40 under 40 and who might be number one with that. And in the area, I like to see what's available, not only, locally, but also globally as well. So this gives you a little bit of information here, and you can go in and read the article. And let's say for example, I read this article, I really like it, and I think that my network might benefit from it. You could hit share, and it basically has that article down below. And, this is a great article about social blah, 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 and you can post it. And that goes right on your feed. So anybody within your network will see that, and they may even share it. Again, if the 5 to 10 minute rule is if it's shared a lot, LinkedIn will automatically intervene with their algorithm and kind of bring that to the top of maybe even that news feed that we saw earlier with the trends. So I just wanted to point that out as well.
There's a question.
What's that?
Does the author get a notification that you share the content?
That's they probably do. I would say behind the scenes, just alerting them within LinkedIn. I'm sure that's a LinkedIn. I don't know for sure, but it would make sense to me that they would.
Yeah, because that's a great strategy on Facebook, for example. If people are seeing that you're liking, commenting, sharing on their content, that, I don't want to use the word sneaky. It's a sneaky way to get attention and market yourself to somebody without spamming them, right?
Absolutely.
What about in terms of publishing your own content? Is that something that you do regularly, or?
I do. I'll bring up my St. Anne's page, and we are opening up a new branch. So I basically posted this about a couple of weeks ago just to get the word out there that we're basically opening this branch up in Westport. This will be our 9th full service branch. So that's one thing I posted just the other day. I basically pinned that to the top so that people knew when they first visit us that we're growing. So you'll see that I pinned it to the top, and you find it really just here. Once you post it, you can unpin or pin, similarly to Facebook.
Okay. How do you know what to put on your personal profile versus a business? Is that something that you just kind of default do it to your business, or do you do it to both, or do you change the content?
Well, sometimes there's different audiences, right? But at the same time, I try to keep the business. And whether that's, you'll see here, there's some ideas, that we've been ranked best of the best in the South Coast for the 4th year in a row. We actually, it's all business. So we just donated to Stepping Stones. I try to keep it light and airy. I just posted, right before the holidays, what to look for cybersecurity, and just making sure that your information is safe when you're buying online. So really anything that I think has to do with your business, I would keep it to your business. You could always, share that on your personal profile.
Okay.
Yep, but I would probably keep the two separate.
Okay.
That way there you see all the feed for the business, and it's not being, you're not taking away from that business information with personal.
Right. Okay.
Are there any other questions, or?
It's a good time for a time check. We're at 1:32 right now.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I think we're, sharing posts from your business account will reinforce who you are, what your business is all about. And when you interact with others who also post on LinkedIn, most likely they'll do the same for you. So again, they'll elevate your visibility, and then LinkedIn will get involved too, and bring your information up to others in their network. So we talked about content, what to use. I mean, we talked about, you could, as simple as looking at an article here and sharing it. You can congratulate, one of your teammates for getting a promotion. If there's a job vacancy, you can obviously add a job description here and send it out as well. But to reach organic reaches, I guess, I would recommend too, having your employees follow the page, and because a lot of the information that the employees see will resonate with the company culture as well. And, what you post here will resonate with that. So getting employees and staff involved is key as well. So when do you post, or what other things can you post? I would recommend not multiple times per day, because that will really fog up your feed. And you may not be taken seriously in the industry if you keep posting multiple items. What's recommended is that, you consider posting a share maybe once a day, or one article a week. I mentioned, maybe even recognizing a team or employee for something that they, a personal shout out, recognition, or updates about your business milestones as well, can be ultimately attract, whether it's let your peers be on notice, but also, the people that might be following you or in your network. Again, it will optimize your visibility. So Dale, I know you had some stats with the description of this seminar, and one really stood out to me, and that was only around 15% of marketers are creating content for LinkedIn, and that was by HubSpot, I think. So there's a missed opportunity if you don't engage in LinkedIn. I'm not a spokesperson for LinkedIn, but I think there's a value to it. And again, it's visibility, and this is free. So there isn't anything that's, bad about
LinkedIn. I think a lot of people probably feel this way. LinkedIn's it can be a hard network to immerse yourself in. Um, with that said, there's 60 million decision makers there, and if only 15% of marketers are making content, this is something we talked about. There's a word called decay in social media. When you post something, how long does that network keep showing it to folks? LinkedIn has the highest or the longest amount of time when you post something that it will stay on the network and show it to the people that either follow your business page or you're connected with, sometimes up to a week or two. On Facebook, it could be hours or it could be missed forever. Instagram is very similar. Those networks are very hard to penetrate and build momentum. I've noticed I've written content for clients on their business page and their personal page. And pretty quickly they will call and say, geez, by the way, I've heard like a few people comment that they like this article. And this is like a brand new business with not a lot of followers. So there's definitely something to the algorithm. If you're on here, you're participating, you're doing these activities, they're introducing new things. You use everything they give you. If they let you recommend someone, give them a recommendation. It's a great opportunity, especially where people are dialed in right now. I personally am trying to lean a little bit away from Facebook and Instagram. It's too volatile. There's too, I think we're very aware of the things that are happening, but we need to continue on to survive as business owners. This is a place I think where some of that noise is gone. And you can just, focus on your career, your business. I really like that part of it. And we have a couple questions here if I can.
Sure.
If we can address them. So one of them is, the name is cut off for me, but if you're a solopreneur, do you still think it's important to have a business or a company page?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
I almost feel like that should be your personal page. What you want to talk about. Yep.
So you would want to focus on you as the person, the entrepreneur, things that you're doing, your right. Sort of thought leadership ideas, posting personally. Okay, right. Great. Next question from Bill. How can you search in LinkedIn with 2 criteria by title and company size? Is that something you can do with the free plan or do you have to upgrade?
That might be an upgrade only because I don't have a paid subscription to LinkedIn. But if I go back to the page, there's really not a way to filter by company size. And I don't know if they do that for a reason, if you know what I mean. They're probably leveraging that for a subscription. But let me go back. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a premium model. And I think Bill, the sales navigator, I think right. is what will allow you to do this.
Right.
It's I think it's $75 a month. If you click on the sales navigator page and you start to fill out the form, I noticed they'll send you a free 30-day trial down the road. They somehow really interested in it. That gives you, I had that over the summer and I used it for a couple months and pulled what I needed out of it. You can connect with people better. You can do some better searching on it. They have a mini CRM where you can save people and there's all kinds of different things that you can do beyond that free version. So I would recommend you start the process, wait till they give you the free 30 days and then see if it's for you or not.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Dale, because I tried to just stick with what's available for free and not, selling LinkedIn. There were, like you mentioned, the sales navigator, the cost to that might be something you might look into. But again, I tried to stay within the free realm. I don't think that, to me, you start off free, and then if you want something more, then you'll pay for it.
Right. Getting in that rhythm is really important.
Right.
Next question from Lenore. Any specific things for arts or nonprofits? Anything? I don't believe so. Any maybe tips or mechanisms that nonprofits could use that separate from a business or a professional?
Yeah, I almost feel like, you should kind of tout your own horn, right? Yeah, or toot your own horn. You know, if you're involved in the community, I think people need to see that. You know, what are you doing? Who's donating to your cause? And, you know, if you have any type of event, you know, whether it's, you know, Toys for Tots, you're collecting, you know, toys, of course, that may have not happened this year, but hopefully next year, you know, for a specific cause. I know here we have Citizen to Citizen, and they typically post, you know, who has donated, you know, specific items, and they will tell you, you know, exactly where it's going. And I think people need to know that. And again, it's visibility, it's free visibility that allows you to tap into different networks and different people. So definitely showcase whatever you can in terms of donations and events. Yeah.
My first response to that question is, it would be really cool to see the end product, like a piece of artwork or whatever your arts nonprofit is doing, like that physical thing that's produced, and showcasing that on LinkedIn. I know LinkedIn is a professional platform, but it'll be interesting to see that end result on how it actually touches folks.
Yeah, and maybe the process leading up to that point too, Dale.
Right. Behind the scenes, you know, obviously we need to keep a professional image, but I think I always say, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but I always say people are nosy. We just want to know, like, I want to know what's going on. I think appealing to that in a professional way is interesting, especially for someone like me. I don't know anything about arts nonprofit. It'd be nice to see, you know, how that money is used, who's donating, just like you said.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any more questions? I mean, we tried to leave this a real Q&A type.
Yep.
I don't know if you have any more slides, Lee, or.
No, I just, you know, again, I just try to keep to the free items available for LinkedIn. You know, you can decide obviously what's best for you if you decide to go up that chain and want to pay for, you know, more specific filtering. But yeah, I think it's really up to you. I think, you know, it's taking baby steps. If you don't have a business page, I think it's probably to get the business page up and running first. And, you know, and then you can kind of play with it and find out exactly what you want from it.
Right. I would say, so I have a lot of questions. If no one's going to ask any questions, I'll just keep going.
No, that's fine.
Oh, Lenore, key idea. Thank you, Lenore. So folks, we're just going to banter back and forth questions. If you want to drop off, great. If you want to stay. I have lots of questions. I'll ask a couple, but I want you to get your questions in also. So when you connect with someone, I have two questions. How do you connect with someone without seeming too pushy? Like what, can you give me an example? Like if you wanted to connect with me, I'm a small business and I could be a customer of St. Anne's. What would you say to me? Like without, what does that sound like? Or, you know what I mean?
If I want to connect with you as St. Anne's, or you're as a small business. Yep, you're a small business.
I came up in your search, Dale Shadbejian. He's got a small business in my area. This is a guy I want to connect with. What do you say?
Well, coming from finance, it's probably a little bit different because, you know, you're a small business, but in prospecting for us is probably, it may not be a good prospect. However, you're probably a good candidate to network with, right? Because you know the area. Maybe perhaps we might be thinking of a branch down the Cape. Who knows? But we know that you have a lot of reach, and I may reach out to you because I'm a marketing professional and say, you know, hey, Dale, how can we work together, a partner, to get the word out there that, you know, St. Anne's might be opening a branch in Dennis, Mass. Or, you know, how can we help your business succeed? Are you opening up maybe, you know, an office, I don't know, on the opposite side of, the Cape. Could we help you with, financing of that? That's a really, it's a fine line, right? Because that's really a sales pitch. I really would stay away from that. I think it's more of connecting as a person on that
Right.
level first.
So, okay, so let me ask part two of my question.
Yeah.
What do you do if someone wants to connect with you and they're just spamming you and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to say?
Well,
How do you handle that
there
scenario?
are two philosophies. I'll be honest with you. Personally, I only connect with people that I've worked with and that I kind of value. The philosophy, more is better. I'm not of that philosophy. So I'm very picky when it comes to connecting with folks. And, you may be picky, you may not be picky. It's
You just
totally up to
delete
you.
it? You just delete the requests?
Um, well,
This has been some of my experience. Hey, Dale, thanks for connecting. What's a time next Tuesday we can talk
I get
about?
emails like that. And unfortunately, I can't keep up with those emails. I can't. There are a lot of technology vendors out there that really want to speak to someone, and they'll either get to you on LinkedIn, they'll either email you directly at work. Unfortunately, I
Okay,
tend to connect with them on a personal level. And if I know them, if I don't know them, I don't connect right away. I want to know a little bit about them.
okay. That's good advice. So Chris Kazarian here has a question that I missed. Sorry, Chris. Have you had experience writing actual articles on LinkedIn?
Mhm.
And do you recommend that versus posting an external article?
I think that has to do with time. If you have the time to write some of the content, and I'll bring up, again, the St. Anne's, if I can.
Chris is a great writer. I know Chris. So, in response to your question, Chris, if Chris is very capable and great at writing, so
Mhm.
I think that's the angle of his question.
Mm-hmm. If you have the time and you're, I tend to write my posts. I tend to keep them short and sweet and with an image, because I think an image kind of draws your eye to them, to the posts. You can be as lengthy as you want, like the cybersecurity one. I think I had a couple of sentences, and then hopefully, and then I had a link to learn more, which would be, there might be some bullet points that I didn't include here that might be beneficial for the reader. So yeah, I tend to write a lot of this, but I can see from an entrepreneur or a small business, they may not have time to write. So that's where Chris would come in, right? Or they could utilize that content or information with trending articles. I was just giving people options of what they could do.
Yeah, I would say, Chris, from a marketer's point of view, when I spend some time on LinkedIn, I don't spend enough time, but when I connect with someone or they connect with me, LinkedIn gives me the opportunity to see what content they've written. If I'm curious about that person, I want to see what they've actually written. And it doesn't have to be terribly long,
Right.
but you can put full blog posts here. And going back to what Lee said in the beginning, those keywords are searchable. When you're searching for information, maybe you're looking for, like, indoor air quality is hot right now. If you're a office owner or a commercial landlord or you run an office and you're concerned about air quality, you might do a search and find someone who's written an article about it versus a person. So, this is, and when you're writing that content, from my point of view, you're sending out a signal to the world that you're really serious about what you do, right? Which to me, I think is really important.
Yep. Again, maybe once or twice a week posting. I'll be honest with you, I don't think we do that here because of timing and rolling out a new branch. So So with that being said, it's really all on what you can do and what resources you have. Are there any other questions?
Any other questions, folks? If not, we will adjourn. I'll give it another minute.
Yep, that's fine. I just want to say thank you to everybody again. I know Dale, I had forwarded on some handouts that might be beneficial, and I know that you will get them out after this session. But until those questions come in, I just wanted to wish everybody a happy and healthy and all the best in the new year.
Likewise, thank you. Lee's provided some great post-webinar materials that you can go through and look at, as well as the presentation. And
Right.
I will also forward along. You should connect with us on LinkedIn, and let's just keep rowing together. That's all. That's my. Everyone's rowing at the same speed this year at the same time. That's all we have to worry about. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, Dale. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.